1930, Uruguay. Only 13 countries and one trophy. From that tiny tournament began the world's biggest sporting festival, the FIFA Football World Cup. Today, it's 48 countries, billions of viewers, and $1 trillion business. But behind this lies a century of drama, war, miraculous victories, heartbreaking losses, and moments you will never forget. Today, we are going to answer just one question. How did the World Cup become the world's biggest dream? If you're new to the channel, subscribe now, and let's get started. Think about the year 1900. Football was then just a European game. Football was in the Olympics, but it was unprofessional, disorganized. Then one man had a dream, Jules Rimet. This French gentleman became the president of FIFA in 1921. He had only one thought in his mind. We must bring all countries to one stage and host a world championship. People back then used to say, "This is impossible. How will so many countries play together?" But Jules Rimet didn't stop. In 1928, FIFA decided the first Football World Cup would be held in 1930. The question was, where? 5 countries applied, but in the end, only one got the opportunity: Uruguay. The reason? They offered to bear all the expenses themselves, and they were the Olympic champions of 1924 and 1928. But the problem was, European teams didn't want to come because it took 3 weeks to cross the Atlantic by ship. Even so, history was made. July 1930, Montevideo, Uruguay. Only 13 countries participated. Just 4 countries came from Europe: France, Belgium, Romania, Yugoslavia. France's Lucien Laurent scored in the first match, the first goal in World Cup history. But the final was a clash between 2 neighbors, Uruguay versus Argentina. Almost 93,000 people in the stadium. At halftime, Argentina was leading by 2-1. And then, Uruguay made a comeback in the second half. Final score, Uruguay 4, Argentina 2. Uruguay became the first world champion. And you know a fun fact? That trophy was named after Jules Rimet, the Jules Rimet Trophy. There's a lot of drama surrounding this trophy later on. I'll tell you about that in a bit. In 1934, Italy won the World Cup, Mussolini's Italy. There was political pressure, referee controversies, yet Italy became the champion. In 1938, Italy again, back-to-back, twice. But after that, the darkness of the Second World War descended upon the world. 1942 and 1946, 2 World Cups didn't happen. Millions of people died. Sports were suspended. But when the war ended, the world breathed again. In 1950, the World Cup took place in Brazil after 12 years. And the biggest upset in football history occurred in that World Cup, known as the Maracanazo. 1950, Rio de Janeiro. Over 200,000 people in the Maracanazo Stadium. That day's record still hasn't been broken. Brazil only needed a draw to become the champion. Opponent? Uruguay. First half ends, score 0-0. Brazil scored in the second half. Now Brazil is ahead. The whole country has started celebrating. Newspapers are already printed. Brazil is world champion. Then, in the 79th minute, Uruguay equalized. And in the 89th minute, Gija scored. Uruguay 2, Brazil 1. Silence in the stadium. 200,000 people are crying. Some even died of heart attacks right there. Brazil calls this defeat a national tragedy. 1958, Sweden. A 17-year-old boy stepped onto the pitch. Name? Edson Arantes do Nascimento. The world knows him as Pele. 3 goals alone in the semifinal. 2 goals in the final. Brazil is champion. The world discovered Pele. But this boy didn't stop here. 1962, Brazil champions again in Chile. Pele couldn't play the whole tournament due to injury, but the team won. 1966, Brazil eliminated in the first round in England. Pele was tackled so harshly that he cried. He said, "I will never play in a World Cup again." But he returned in 1970. Mexico. That Brazilian team was one of the greatest teams in history. Jairzinho, Rivellino, Tostão, Carlos Alberto, and Pele. They defeated Italy 4-1 in the final. Pele is world champion for the 3rd time. Brazil won the Jules Rimet trophy forever as a reward for winning it 3 times. But that trophy was stolen and never found again. (1974) West Germany. Cruyff's Netherlands lost in the final. 1978, in Argentina, under a shower of paper on the pitch, Argentina won. 1982, Italy champion in Spain. Then came 1986, Mexico. And came Diego Maradona. Quarterfinal, Argentina versus England. This match wasn't just football, it was revenge for the Falklands War. There had been a war between the two countries before. In the 51st minute, Maradona scored, but the ball had touched his hand. The referee didn't see it. Goal! After the match, Maradona said, "It was a little bit the hand of God and a little bit the head of Maradona." This quote is famous to this day. But 4 minutes later, in the same match, Maradona scored a goal that is called the goal of the century. Starting from his own half, dribbling past 5 English players to score. Argentina became the world champion that time. From the 90s, the World Cup became bigger, more colorful. 1994, Brazil champion in America, Romario, Bebeto. 1998, France champion in France, Zidane's 2 headers. 2002, Brazil's 5th time in Korea, Japan, Ronaldo's 2 goals. Then Germany, Spain, Germany. But one night in 2014 eclipsed everything. Brazil versus Germany, semi-final on Brazilian soil. Germany scored 5 goals in the first 30 minutes. The whole of Brazil is crying. Brazilian fans in the stadium are crying on their knees. Final score, Germany 7, Brazil 1. The darkest night in football history. In Brazil, it's called the Mineirazo. And in 2018 in Russia came Croatia, a country of just 4 million people, reached the final. Lost to France, but won the world's heart. And 2022, Qatar, the first World Cup in the Middle East. Lionel Messi, he is 35. This is the last chance. One regret in his whole career, no World Cup. Losing to Saudi Arabia, then making a comeback. France in the final. Mbappe scored a hat-trick alone. The match went to penalties. Argentina won. Messi became the world champion. He cried on the pitch. The world cried. After a 36-year wait, Argentina got their 3rd World Cup. Football says, dreams never die. From 1930 to 2026, from 13 countries to 48 countries. Jules Rimet's tiny dream is today the world's biggest festival. Once every 4 years, the world stops. Different countries, different languages, different cultures, but only one language, the language of football. Now, in 2026, the World Cup is happening with 48 countries in America, Canada, and Mexico. Perhaps another new history will be written this time. Which is your favorite country? Let me know in the comments. If you liked the video, give it a like, share it with your friends.